Ebro in the morning, Laura Styles, Rosenberg, and our guest today, Yelawolf.
Yo, Yella.
Hello.
Yelawolf, we got to get some
Howdy,
things
New
off the
York.
rip. You, sir, are from Alabama.
Yep.
And you, sir, have mixed children, interracial children, black children.
Yeah.
And Puerto Rican.
And being from the South, with everything going on right now, with the police brutality, the killing of young black men who are unarmed, the protests happening, this kind of racial world in Alabama is a real thing. Something you grew up with, right? Something you dealt with a lot.
Yeah, that unfortunately is not a new story to us. I think, if you're talking about things that are going on currently, that's been happening across the country, continuously throughout the years. I mean, we're actually blessed that something has happened to bring real attention to it. Unfortunately, the loss of someone's life, but at least now it's getting the reaction that I think that it deserves. And I've been around situations firsthand. I've been put in handcuffs myself and watched my friends get beat up,
Now, the dynamic of how you grew up was very interracial, right? You had black friends, white friends, like it was hip hop in Alabama, right?
Yeah, well, before hip hop, there was always that, that's just the house that I was raised in. Fortunately, not all homes like that were didn't embrace culture like mine did. My mom was 15 when I was born, and she was heavy into rock and roll and country, and her first long-term boyfriend was touring with Aerosmith when they did the Walk This Way tour.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So there was always that in my house. I was always around music. I was always around black people, white people, Asian people, of all kinds because of the music industry. And then came along skateboarding when I was around 13 or 14. I got seriously into skateboarding, which then again opened up even a broader door culturally and, connected me, wherever I went, there was always skateboarding. So whether it was West Coast or New York.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate to have, been thrown into it. My grandmother even, used to listen to Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, making breakfast in the morning. And, she actually had to hide under the bed to listen to blues music.
What is that? Just because it was black music?
Yeah. And, so Gadsden, Alabama, the small town that I'm from, was a part of that, separation, that divide. During the race wars, there was a divide that happened, and white people went over here and black people went over there, and that's how it was. But
So fast forward to now, your ex-girlfriend, wife, you guys have how many kids together? She's a black woman.
I have 3 children with my ex, and my fiance currently is Fifi Dobson.
Black woman.
She's black, and I don't know, man. I've never really paid attention to that. It's just like, Fifi and I, we met and, we fell in love and that was it. It wasn't like, I never really saw that, other people do and bring it to my attention.
Right, I was gonna
What
say.
I mean? But
Yeah.
I think that it's definitely like, I'm obviously physically attracted to her. But, I guess I just don't give a fuck,
But how much do you have to think about, like, a lot of times when these stories happen and people talk about police brutality, we talk about the difficulties and challenges and fears of raising black men in America. So how do you deal with that in terms of raising your own kids?
Raising black men, shit, that's, I don't know, I raise a good human.
But what do you tell them in terms of like when you see the police story, when you see that there are these things that happen that make us feel as if certain people get a different sort of treatment from the law? Is there anything that you think about having to explain to your kids in terms of interacting with police and things of that nature?
Police, from my experience with police, and I've been in some really bad situations with police, and I've seen them be assholes. And I've seen them be cool, and like I've the only experience I have, and the only experience I can share is my own. I can watch and see things go down, But I can't apply that to myself because that's not the scenario that I'm in, or that's not the skin I'm in, and that's not the person I am. It's not how I was raised. I handle things differently. So how I would tell my own children is the way I handle it. You know, honestly, ever since, you know, when I first got tackled and handled by police, it was that one time that I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna win here, you know. So it's yes sir, no sir, yes sir, okay sir, thank you sir, no problem sir, you know, take my ass home, drink some beer, whatever.
Live to see another day.
Yeah, it's not like you're not gonna win that fight. You know, you got to like mentally control that situation. A lot of these guys have a lot of angst from high school problems. You know, they're taking out their racial issues with their badge. You know, and unfortunately,
problems at home with their own wife currently, or whatever.
And unfortunately, man, they're giving a bad reputation to, man.
There's a lot of great cops.
Yeah, you can't sit there and say all cops are bad. That's, you know, you can't do that.
I think where people are at today, though, is, you know, for the cops that are respectable and carry themselves the right way and aren't out just, you know, picking on people sometimes.
Scared police are the worst.
Yeah, man.
And once you scare a cop, then you're in trouble.
That may be the biggest common thread between all these stories.
Well, and I also think that, you know, the main issue that we're talking about is, you know, obviously everybody has had bad experiences with cops. You know, thrown around, bruised up, whatever, and whatever led to that is what it is. What we're talking about, though, is people who actually die and who are unarmed.
Yeah, you think, you know, murder is murder, man, and you know, the fact that he wasn't indicted, you know, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to the American people, and you know, being from the South, we have our issues in the South. We always have, but, you know, any logical person, no matter where you're from, can look at that and say, man, that's not cool. That's not right. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter where you're from. I don't care if you're flying a Dixie flag or flying an American flag. You know, there's logic sets in like, hey, man, that ain't cool. Something's got to happen.
That Confederate flag or Dixie flag, as you got it, is a part of the fabric of where you're from too, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, you know, I was raised on Dukes of Hazzard, man. You know,
I used to watch that show too, and then later on I was like, yo, Mom, you let me watch this show with the racist flag on the car?
Nah, my manager's black, and he had a generally good big wheel, you know?
Yeah. So nobody told me.
It's not like, you know, the Dixie flag, man, you know, it's like this, man, you know, there's skinheads out there. There's KKK that fly the American flag.
True indeed.
So you're gonna stop flying the American flag?
Right.
You know,
I think it's the idea that it represents a time of separation over something that, you know, we know involves slavery, right? Yeah. And that flag to someone like myself who doesn't live in the South and doesn't understand necessarily the fabric of that. I see that flag and I'm like, yo, listen, that city waves that flag. I just don't visit that city. That means I'm not welcome.
Nah, that's definitely not true, man. You might as well apply that to the American flag.
There's places where I'm not welcome there too, and I know those places. I'm just saying, as it applies to the Dixie flag.
I wanna jump a little bit into the music stuff here, because it's, you know, even in just seeing the people you have around you walking in the studio now, as opposed to 4 years ago. It's been
fired.
People were axed. Well, no, let's look, because I don't think I've seen you since that. Like, we interacted a lot before the album came out. And I don't know how much I even saw you after the album came out, which, by the way, I loved the album, the first album. I thought it was tremendous.
Shout out to my guy Pooh Bear on the writing on that, too. That's my dude.
Well, I mean, I thought you had 2 records with Pooh Bear, which were phenomenal and could have been hits, to be honest with you. And I didn't, you know, I'm not here to...
He's a better writer for Bieber than he is for me.
I don't know. Good Girl was pretty good.
Yo, you had some records on that first album. You didn't feel like it fit who you are? Was that the problem?
Well, I mean, if it worked, it would have worked, right?
Got it.
I mean, is that
you know
maybe?
Like I think that it was good to experiment and, like, you know, I put my trust in to certain situations and we tried, and that was that. I did say, you know, numerous times, I don't think this is gonna fly.
What part for you was experimenting on the album though? Was it the more?
It was the sharing and the writing. Period. You know, I've never wrote with anyone. This album I wrote completely, you know, closed door. Love Story is there was no one invited. So
And musically, where's the place you're in compared to? And I don't mean writing wise, but sound of texture of the music.
It's reminiscent of Arena Rap, which is a project I did right before Trump Music. I think it's, you know, it's important for people to know that right before Trump Music, I had a full band and hair down to my waist and a fiddle player and a banjo player and a DJ and lap steel and, you know, upright bass, and we were touring as a band around Georgia and Alabama right before Trump Music was recorded. So, you know, my rap career brought me to Interscope and Shady Records, which I'm thankful for. Love Story, I'm just trying to infuse those earlier sounds, those earlier inspirations that, you know, that were driving me right before Trump Music. You know, we did Arena Rap and couldn't get a deal for it. And
is it? And I guess so. Let's talk about the texture. Let's sit right there on Arena Rap and what you're describing as your new material. It's a mix of hip hop in its base, but there's country music.
Yeah, there's rock and roll.
Blues, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, country blues.
Blues is kind of cousins. They're cousins.
Yeah.
Country cousins.
Yeah,
country
for
sure.
So the question is, here's what I find super interesting. Generally, when people talk about there being any mix of country and rap, they're saying it with disgust. Like it's a thing that people don't like. It's mainstream. It seems cheesy.
It's terrible.
It's terrible for the most part.
Yeah.
Then you come along, and you're a pure musician, a pure lyricist. How do you how would you describe what makes what you're doing a good fusion of this music, and why do you think it's so often done poorly?
It's done poorly because, well, there's not enough people on the countryside that understand enough about hip-hop to do it right. There's not enough people on the hip-hop side that know enough about country to do it right. And that's just like this gray area that they're surviving in country music doing this hick-hop, what they call.
Oof, you must.
Terrible.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Rolling Stones actually did this whole hick-hop article on all these artists, and it was just...
Yeah, that frustrates me.
Oh, my God.
Like the dude from the TV show.
You know what? And you guys know where I'm going to go. Hip-hop as a music culture was about bringing all of these different genres kind of into one place, and you chop them up and you break them down and you rhyme over them, whether it's the break, it's this. I mean, you brought up Walk This Way earlier. Aerosmith. Then there was a Run DMC version, right? If you listen to classic rock and roll, Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, any of that is based on what you brought up, which was
Public Enemy, Anthrax,
all that. But you go to Muddy Waters, you go to Howlin' Wolf, you go to Buddy Guy, you go to these blues things, which had country offshoots, had bluegrass offshoots, rock and roll offshoots, all these things. So now fast forward. And you mean to tell me that people that live on both sides, whether you're in the country music or you're in the hip hop or you're in the rock and roll, don't understand how to bring those veins together and marry it in the right way?
No, not at all. They just weren't. They weren't fans. You know, it's obvious. Like if you, or you know, or just they just don't have talent.
Or they suck.
You know what I'm saying? Like they might be fans, but
ahead,
you know.
Didn't Nelly try it at country?
Nelly rapped on a song.
Nelly had a big record with Florida Georgia Line.
Yeah,
that's like a big
was
record.
it LL Cool J?
Windows Down, or Florida.
Yeah, and LL.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I'm in the middle of already something with LL. Let's not bring that up. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't like LL's country song? Is that what you're saying?
He did this. Who did he do? I don't even remember who he did it with again. It was
Who was it? Bones, Brantley.
But I feel like your stuff.
No, it wasn't Brantley. It wasn't Brantley.
I feel like the Yelawolf, the stuff that you're gonna put together is gonna have more of a rawness to it, right? Like I haven't listened to it, right? I know you have a new single, but I just feel like you're referencing blues, rock and roll, classic rock, and these things that have a level of rawness to it, and some big drums that make it arena music. Because I did hear that project before you put out the last album, Trunk Music.
Yeah.
But it was raw a little bit. It wasn't overly glossed and mainstream sounding. I mean, there were some mainstream elements to it, but it felt like the beats and the drums were still hard.
Yeah, I think, and you know, melodically, I've always had this. I write big, you know, like it's just my ear and how I approach a song. It kind of comes out with more of a mainstream appeal than underground. It's just the nature of how I write, man.
You like big melodies. You like big hooks. That's fine. That's clean.
But yeah, as far as the integrity of the music, Look, it took us 5 months to get the first song out of Love Story.
Wow.
After like 40 ideas before we were like, all right, that's the sound. And after we got the first song, it was easier to make the rest of the record. And, you know, we just closed the door, man, and just got focused, man. And in between then, though, I've put out Psycho White, which is a EP I did with Travis Barker. You know, it's got a lot of punk infusion, you know, Tim Armstrong from Rancid. I've done Black Fall with DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia, which is a whole project I did with him. I did Trunk Music Returns. I've done a few features. So I've kept my, you know.
Your brand.
Yeah, I've kept things going. And, you know, with this new album, it's just this passion project, man. It's just something that, I'm really proud of it, man. And the only person that I've worked with besides Malay and Willpower is Marshall. And there's right now, there's no one else on this album except for Marshall.
And how does Marshall feel about what you're doing right now?
He's excited, man. And the last time I talked to him, he said that it felt more real, and it felt bigger because of the honesty of it. Mm. I mean, he had a lot of trust in me this go round, you know, because after, you know, the last album, I think we all realized that, like, look, man, just let me go and let me turn in something, and let's see what happens. So when I did turn in the project, it was good vibes, man. You know, there was a couple records that really sparked some inspiration between him and I. So I flew out to Detroit and we recorded a few more records, sent him some records to finish up. So yeah, man.
Did anything change in you though? Because like I will say, physically on some level, you like literally look different. Like the hat, the style is a little different.
Of course, man, I'm a lot different.
So what is that? Where does that come from? That change? Obviously, you always had it in you, but
because I want to be the music. I want to fucking wear the music. I want to become this music. I want to live this music that I'm, you know, and that's inspired by Andre 3000 or CeeLo or Mos Def even, you know, like I'm growing up, man. You know, I'm not comfortable in the sneakers no more. I'm on to the next. I like rocking snakeskin cowboy boots, and it makes me feel good. You know, I like kicking it with my boys and us going out and going to the Stetson store and picking out some classy ass hats, and like I like kicking it with my dad and drinking bourbon and smoking a cigar, and you know,
old man shit.
Yeah, like
yeah,
grown ass man shit. Like I like riding Harleys with my dad and taking road trips and, you know, just living this, man. It inspires my music, and I feel like I'm becoming my own person. You know, everything is starting to click. You know, mind, body, and soul all, you know, kind of just coming together, and like what is coming out of me it's always been that way. You know, even when I was rocking a mullet mohawk, that was what I was about. That's what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was living that music. I'm just evolving, and I'm evolving externally. You know.
How are you doing?
My music.
You mentioned bourbon and cigars. Is that all you're on? Is that all you're doing right now? Because you've had moments where I know you've been dabbling in other things, and I
used to go pretty hard, my dude.
Yeah, you've gone hard. Hard. You've had periods where you're going pretty hard. So where are you at? Are you doing? You seem calm. You seem good. You look good. You don't look unhealthy.
Thanks.
Are you physically taking care of yourself?
I'm 9 days sober right now.
Oh, there you go. Well, we caught you.
Are you trying to go to 30?
I'm trying to. You know what? Every time I put a limit on it, I never make it. So I'm just kind of chilling.
Well, when you say sober, you're still, but we're continuing on the bourbon and cigars and weed.
Well, I mean, I've been on tour for how long? 2 months. And dude, let me tell you, I woke up one night and I was like, is it still tonight?
Oh no.
My manager was like, yo, it's tomorrow night, man.
It's tomorrow night? That doesn't even make sense.
It's tomorrow night. So it's been, it went pretty insane for a while, along with Ritz's crazy ass.
I love Ritz.
Yo, Ritz is that guy's a talented guy.
Kid. Yeah, Ritz from Gwinnett County. He's hands down the best chopping MC in my opinion, since Twister, for sure. He's perfectly timed
all the time.
You can understand what he's saying no matter how fast he's going.
He's his cadence, his accent, his delivery. It's all reminiscent of really, really good Southern chop rap music. You know, it's like, and he sticks to that, man. And when I heard him, the first time I heard him years ago, he came out. He opened up for me at this place called Lenny's Bar. This is when I was doing arena rap. And I told him, I was like, man, we should stay in touch. He lost his crew, whatever. Things started falling apart with him. And I told him that if I got a situation, I'd help him out. It just so happened that after I signed to Shady, I was like, Ritz, man, come hop on Trump Music. So he got on Box Chevy, and that was it, man. I introduced him to Tech Nine. Tech Nine signed to Strange Music, and now he's killing it. And he's a maniac, fully. Up till 9 every day.
How does your lady deal with you when you're out on the road, wilding out, not knowing whether it's today or tomorrow? If you were supposed to call her today and now it's tomorrow, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know, I'm the boss, man. Like, that's my shit.
I'm just
God, I wish I was you.
How did you and Fifi meet?
Fifi and I met at the Fantasy Factory. I was doing a show with Bun B.
I want to go to the Fantasy Factory.
Tell everyone what this is.
Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory.
Okay. And what happens at this place?
It's just an amazing place.
What are you planning on doing there?
No, listen. It's like a big
Jumping in
playground, right? I mean, yeah, and it sounds very paused.
What kind of balls?
Foam pit, actually.
Yeah, like a foam pit. It's like a big skate park. It's pretty awesome.
Were you skating at this? Were you skating at the factory?
Yeah, I mean, we skated some. I was actually there. Actually, that time, no, not at all, because it was packed with people. It was myself and Bun B were performing one of Rob's parties. I met Fifi backstage, and that's all she wrote on that.
You saw it.
I saw it.
I
grabbed her by the belt loop.
Really?
I wouldn't let her
I know
go.
you respect that move.
Like,
Told you, it's my guy right here.
You know what that is? Grown man shit.
That's grown man shit also.
Like, yo, come here.
And
She
now
kept
you-
trying to run off. I had her by the belt loop.
Ain't that good anyway? And now you guys are engaged.
Yeah.
Is there? You guys set a date already?
Yeah, we had Halloween set, so we'll see if it comes together this Halloween.
Yeah, I have a feeling they'll have a very interesting wedding.
Yeah, it's gonna be yeah.
Yo, man, I'm happy for you, man.
Thanks, man.
I'm happy for you.
When's the album, by the way?
Album's coming out early this year. Looking like March. We've got like a few more singles about to drop with videos. But man, honestly, Till It's Gone is doing so well right now. The last single that we are y'all playing that, by the way?
Can we play?
Let's run it.
You want to give it a shot?
Let's give it a shot.
Let's see what this sounds like on Hot 97.
You want to play it?
Come on, you know I'm a fan of this guy.
All right,
I used to play his Kid Rock record. I'll play whatever.
All right, let's do it. Till It's Gone.
Let me tell you, if this works, it we'll be making history. It's growing right now on alternative rock radio.
No, it's a rock record.
But it's not.
But it's not.
Yeah, but it's not.
So,
If it works, it is.
But listen.
But
let's have Yelawolf. Let's have real talk. You being a white guy, Eminem experienced the same thing where he would put rock drums in his hip hop record, and the hip hop cast loved it. Same way we love the Beastie Boys. Same way we love when Run DMC did it. We love those big drums.
Did you play Lose Yourself?
Yes, of course.
Rock Radio played it too. Right?
Yes, but that's my point.
Yeah.
Because you're white, rock radio jumps on those records as well as hip hop fans.
Is that really the reason, or is it just the music?
Well, no, they play Hove stuff too. The Rick Rubin stuff that he did. But they don't play the other stuff that he did. You know what I'm saying? Like there's specific things that they choose to get to. Just like on hip hop radio, there's specific things that they choose to get to and they don't get the other records. So I believe that people are overly segregated in that regard, right? But I want to get this record on and play it for the people because I like when them big drums come in like that.
That's what's up.
Now, before we let you get out of here, before we get into the song, explain to me again why I'm supposed to be cool with the Dixie flag thing. Because I already got one flag that we got history. So now you're telling me I got to accept another flag that basically says
you don't have to accept anything. No
so
one
explain.
does.
Explain.
He's
to
just
me.
saying, don't assume that if someone does have any love for that flag, that person is bad.
Man, I tell you,
Okay,
I tell you like this.
All right,
I
fair
got
enough.
my little buddy Cambo. He's 21 years old. He's the best dude you could ever meet. He won't go anywhere without that Dixie flag. But when I tell you that this person would ride for anyone,
his fabric is good.
man, you know.
So what
like
does the
my
flag mean to
family-
him? Why does he love that flag so much
Right.
then?
Because he's from the fucking heart of Dixie, Alabama. You know, like it's a sense of like, listen, the more a person makes it taboo, the more it A, confuses people, B, makes the people who are like proud of it make
Standoffish.
it, you know, like
Yeah.
standoffish and make it, hey man, nah, we're not gonna take it. Now you're making it a problem. But listen,
It's tough for me. Yeah, you understand why it's tough, right?
well, let me tell you something they did for the problem is, yeah, I understand. Of course I understand, but you weren't raised in the South, right?
No, not at all.
My manager is black. He's from Huntsville. He had a Dukes of Hazzard big wheel when he was a kid.
I mean, I watched the show.
But what I'm saying
just
is
the good old
that
boys,
little,
never meaning no harm.
Exactly.
Beats
You
all he
just
ever
say-
saw with the trouble with the law since the day he was born.
Yeah. So
I
you
listen
got
to the Charlie's Daniels band. I like it.
Yeah,
it's
so,
music
like,
that I like.
Leonard Skinner,
But that,
Charlie
all
Daniels.
that, I'm in.
Cool, then that's all there is.
But that flag, so you mean to tell me I'm supposed to be cool with a time where it wasn't cool to be like me? I'm not, you know what I'm saying? That's hard for me.
Of course it is. Yeah, I mean, but it's also, you can apply the same thing to the American
I do,
flag,
but
you know?
what my point is
Now you have a second one.
I got two flags.
Flying both over your house, bro.
I got two now.
Yeah, you don't have to accept anything. No one does.
I know.
And like I could just tell you from our perspective, from our crew, we're not about that. You know, I can only.
I know
speak.
you're not. If I
Yeah.
thought you were, we'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah, of
it would.
course,
It would
man.
be this big 6'4" dude would be looking at me like you want to get it poppin'. You'd be like, yo, fuck you. I'd be like, yo, fuck you. It'd be a whole different thing.
Yeah,
we
nah,
fucks with
we're-
you, man.
We're cool, man. You know, and like honestly, let's go back just a little bit, and you know, the reason one of my biggest inspirations was Andre 3000 and Miss Jackson when he had a Dixie flag belt buckle.
True, he did.
And I was like, damn, that's what's up. That, you know, that's what I'm talking about. That's the change that, you know, like, or Lil Jon or Pastor Troy, you know, these people that inspired me to like, or Big Gip who wore a Dixie flag
And I was confused
down
as
at
shit.
Madison Square Garden.
No, he did. Yo, and me and I was
at that
confused
show.
as fuck. And I was like, yo, what's y'all? That's what? Huh? I was
It's just
confused.
it's a forceful change, man. It's like just taking it and owning it, and you can't
And
use this against.
Kanye threw it on
Kanye
his
too,
merch
yeah.
that he just
Oh,
did
that's
on
right.
the last
He just
run.
threw it
Everybody was
again.
tight. I
Yeah.
was just happy he was making money on it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but that's it's the same concept, but it's all good, man. I think, you know, just a little time, and you know, just more self-awareness for people, man, and things will be all right.
And respect.
Yeah,
And
respect,
respect
of course.
of
Always show
what
respect.
people love. I think that's what you're talking
Anyone's
about.
welcome at my show, man. You know, to listen to my music, to vibe with me, to party with me, and that's how I do things, you know.